What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Sly Cooper yet again. Every couple months, I get really in my own head, and I start thinking about him, start thinking about those games, and start saying, has there been anything, online? Now, over the last couple months, there has been this account that I definitely want to talk about in this video, and I've been sent a couple of these posts. I want to go through really what I would say is the journey of this account and Sly Cooper, and I don't really believe it. I don't believe the source, but, Colin Lack, who seems like a really nice guy and follows me over on Twitter, he's been a guy I've really relied on, for kind of moral support of can Sly Cooper come back. I've checked his Twitter posts if he's said anything in recent time. He's pretty heavy on like Sly's coming back, but then also they're going to do something with Thieves in Time. He said that for, I think, about a good year or so, but I think even this past year in like March or April, he was still talking about Thieves in Time. So we'll kind of circle back to that at the end, but let's go over these new rumors and if I believe them or not. Spoilers, I don't really believe them. So we start our journey with this account, PS Insider. Now, a lot of accounts, I think, that's a very samey kind of name. I think a lot of accounts use that type of name. And I am going to be kind of forceful right away because, look, this is an account with 25 followers. They say things. It's kind of my dream account because you have things like a Jak and Daxter game is coming. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale 2 just got greenlit and it's happening. Like, it's anything from, like, a fan like me who grew up on PlayStation in, like, the late 2000s, early 2010s, but also played the Slys and Jak and Ratchet and Clank and stuff of kind of the mid to early 2000s. This account is like your wildest dream because every other day, this account says that something from that era is coming back, right? And it's like, look, I would love to believe that, truly. And I mean, this really is not even to make fun of the account and what I'm saying right now. This is like, really, it's don't tease me with things that are this good. Do not tell me that an All-Stars Battle Royale is happening unless you're very sure, because obviously, if you've watched my channel, I'm a big fan of that game in particular. I would love it to come back. I actually think it would work nowadays. And but again, you just look at the account, you look at all the posts. Every couple weeks, there's a new post, and it's always something kind of legendary. It's something that you really want to happen, but it's 95% likely just for that kind of clickbaity, or it's just getting people to click on the account. All right. So we take our journey with this account, PS Insider, back to April 13th of this year. Exclusive agreement reached between Sony and Sanzaru Games. The latter will develop Sly 5, as if the former. Sanzaru wants to resume the sketches left pending in 2014. The game should be called Master of Thieves, as it was planned in 2014. Development will start in August. Now, to me, there is just like 10 different things. Like every sentence of that feels wrong, feels like they don't even know how like these things are actually arranged. So again, like I'm kind of making fun of it a little bit. Between Sony and Sanzaru, the latter will develop Sly 5. Well, like what? How else was that supposed to read? Like, how did you expect anybody to interpret that in any other way? Okay, I highly doubt you would know. Like, say you just started it, or say like you pitched it and Sony agreed to it. I highly doubt you would know the name right now. Also, they want it, but they don't start it till August. So from April to August, they are sitting there twiddling their thumbs. Nothing is happening. Now, look, why did they say Sanzaru? Obviously, it's because of Sly 4. Okay, but it further falls apart when you think Facebook bought Sanzaru. So why is Facebook allowing one of their studios that they own? By the way, about 10 days after this post, they laid off people at Sanzaru Games. So it's like they own them. They make VR games now. They did a very similar trajectory to Ready at Dawn, the makers of The Order 1886. There was potential, no matter your kind of mixed feelings on The Order or Sly 4. There was something there, and then they got bought out by somebody else, and they make VR stuff. That's really what happened to both of them. And both of them, I think, pitched future games. Like, for them, Sly and Ready at Dawn did the same thing, pitched The Order sequel, and then they were said no to it. So, pretty similar trajectory, but similar issue in that why would Facebook be allowing their own studio to make a deal with PlayStation unless it's like a three-way deal, or really a two-way deal? Facebook and Sony agree, and they're saying, okay, okay, well, we'll license out Sly to your studio, but like, I don't think you would get Facebook involved. Like, it doesn't make sense. Let me just say that right now. It doesn't make sense. On top of it, again, 10 days later, people were laid off there, and really the like, if they're okay is a question. Like, ever since late April, nobody really knows. Like, that studio might be in a world of trouble. So, okay, an account like this, you got to pivot when that happens, right? You say Sanzaru, you're only saying it because of Sly 4, things fall apart, and the studio itself that we know documented, they're having issues. Well, now you need to pull the plug and move somewhere else. So then jumping ahead to June 19th, they say exclusive. Sanzaru Games didn't convince Sony for Sly 5. Insomniac Games now emerging as serious option to develop the next chapter. Key meeting between Sony and Insomniac scheduled for Monday to decide. More to follow. Let me again stop there because everything there just sounds wrong. Okay, here's the one deal. Why Insomniac? Well, from Colin Lack, right? Remember, the rumor is that a small kind of subset of Insomniac and a small subset of Sucker Punch have actually formed like this almost double-A type team, and they're working on Sly. I think that sounds the most plausible of anything you could ever hear, right? Because to say that Insomniac as an entire company would be taking on Sly would be insane. It doesn't sound right. So I'm not saying anything, by the way, against Colin Lack because he's gotten some stuff right. And again, I lean on him for moral support. But that sounds plausible where it's like, hey, Astrobot really got the gears turning and maybe they want to do more Astrobot type things, but you're not going to give the Ghost of Yote team Sly. You're not giving Wolverine's team Sly. It's not happening. That's just called reality in 2025. I would like that, but it's not where we're at, right? These games are expensive. These games are going to go on to sell. Sly should be made for cheaper and should be expected to do far less than a Wolverine or Ghost of Yote or stuff like that, right? So, I mean, that's the first thing. Well, really two parts to that, right? Why Insomniac? I think this account is just doubling down on previously talked about rumors. It's not even like these rumors have proven true. We don't actually know if there is this small little studio made up of people that are making it, but this account probably knows that people have talked about that, including Colin, and that's why you would bring up Insomniac. But again, the way that they say it just sounds ridiculous. So firstly, they literally say agreement reached between Sony and Sanzaru, and then now, 3 months later, they say that Sanzaru didn't convince Sony. So wait, they signed a contract and they agreed on it? Or what was the word? Agreement reached. Are we talking like a handshake agreement or like pen to paper? Because if it's pen to paper, you can't really take Sly away from that, right? So again, well, what is it? It's reactionary. They said Sanzaru. Obviously, things happened to it. Now you got to back out. So even though you said there was an agreement made, now all of a sudden there was never an agreement and they didn't convince Sony. But you said they convinced Sony. So whatever. Now Insomniac is emerging as a serious option. Okay, so like what? They're calling PlayStation. Key meeting between Sony and Insomniac scheduled for Monday. It's like, I don't think that's how it works. I mean, I guess I'm not there, so I don't think this account's there either. But I don't think Insomniac's picking up the phone and saying, hey, we need an urgent meeting on Monday. We're ready to pitch you a Sly game. Again, would I like that? Yes, but like, why would they even be the ones to do it? Like, has Insomniac ever, like, they did Ratchet. Like, was there any desire at any point to do Sly? Wouldn't it have made it more believable if you said Sucker Punch? Because, like, Nate Fox and them, they're still there. There's still some people that were heads on Sly that are still, which I respect that, by the way, because those guys are legends. Sly, Infamous, Ghost, right? There's some people that are still there, and they're at the tippity top. They're the ones who would make it the most believable, that they have, like, this deep passion to do one more Sly game before they retire, and they are pitching it like that. And by the way, I would like to hear that eventually anyway, but I mean, like, that would make it more believable than this. And then you have the final post, and this is when people, by the way, told me, so then I jumped in and started kind of calling them out, kind of not. They say exclusive Sly 5 is happening, developed by Insomniac, so now I guess the deal is through. Set in a futuristic world, Sly is stranded alone in time and must return to the present. Confirmed, more to follow. Let me tell you something, by the way, just in case this account wants to do like a better job at trying to fool people. Don't say confirmed to your own things. I hate, and I am going to be, again, pretty critical because you got to get better at this. Like, if you can kind of make me be like 50-50 on something, you're doing okay. But because I am a bit skeptical on kind of everything. But I mean, come on. Like, you can't confirm your own scoop, especially an account that's just not believable and hasn't said anything that's actually come true. you can't say your own scoop is confirmed. Also, the futuristic thing probably is fine. I have no like strong negative to that. I guess my one thing is like Sly is stranded in time. Sly is stranded, but it's actually the reverse. So now Sly is trapped in the future. So does Sly get out of Egypt and back to present, and then he actually gets stranded? So you're telling me that between Sly 4 and Sly 5, you had him lost to time, you brought him back, and then he got lost a second time in one game? Like the distance of one game? Ridiculous. This man, this raccoon can't catch a break or is just really stupid all of a sudden. So I don't know. I mean, that's the part that I would probably make fun of. That you would have to really convince me, even if that is the plot, you'd have to really convince me of why that would work, because you have to fix 4's ending. And then, yes, you do have to do something after that, but I don't know. Maybe you don't want to make a game where you completely fix 4's ending, and you would want to like quickly resolve that to then do the next thing, but don't do that exact same thing but in reverse, right? So he was trapped in Egypt, now all of a sudden he's trapped in the future. Please don't do that, because that's using the same cliche twice, back to back, so I really don't like that element to it. But beyond that, whatever. It's developed by Insomniac. Look, like I said, I don't believe any of this. I just wanted to have a good time. What I will say, though, again, look, there's always going to be a piece of me that wants to believe anything Sly. Maybe I'm a hypocrite for what I said a couple minutes ago. I want to believe. Do I believe this account? Absolutely not. But is there always a piece of me that when I see literally, it could be an account with 2 followers. It could be an account that was created yesterday that said, hey, Sly 5 is happening. Is there going to be 0.1% of me that actually believes it or wants to believe it? Truthfully, yes, because that's just how much of a diehard fan I am. Again, I think to Colin Lack, and I think to, okay, this is a guy that does know his stuff. Now, I will say, he was wrong. I think last August, he said within 2 to 3 months, you're going to get Sly 2 and 3. Now, he was 1 month off, and that's actually really good. So I'm going to give him that check mark and say, okay, that probably helps his credibility. He talked about Sly 2 and 3 coming to PlayStation. He was 1 month off of it. However, at the time, he said that Thieves in Time would also come out last December, 8 months ago. That didn't happen, and then, like I said, as time went on, he still is talking about, you can search his own Twitter, and I think back in March or April of this year, he said that Thieves in Time, something was still going to happen, some sort of maybe PS5 port. So he's not letting it go, which maybe indicates, hey, he has heard something is happening with that game. Maybe he just got the timeline wrong, right? So I want to believe that. And remember, he, again, is the one to talk about Sly is happening. Astrobot helped it even further, and it is going to happen. But I don't know. I mean, we keep waiting for this mysterious PlayStation showcase where they're going to show whether it's Twisted Metal, whether it's Sly. They never have this freaking showcase, and that's not really against Colin. It's against PlayStation, really. Please, PlayStation, announce a showcase, because you know what? If they actually do a showcase, there is the chance to prove these people right or wrong. You know what I mean? So up until then, we can only believe, not believe, whatever you want to do. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.